On this episode of the Comic Blast podcast, we go through some things that you may need to know before watching The Mandalorian. We also go through some Batman casting rumors. Maybe Andy Serkis is cast as Alfred in the Batman. Possibly we're going to see Collin Ferrel as the Penguin in the Batman. All of that coming up next.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out? Consider this mercy. I am inevitable.
What's up and welcome to the Comic Blast podcast. My name is Keenan, one of the hosts. Joining me is Grayson, who is also one of the hosts. What's going on? How's your week?
You know, I'm going to be real with you. The past 2 weeks have felt like a year to me, really. I don't know what it is, but I thought today was Thursday, and then I walked out of class and I was like, oh my gosh, today was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Last week went by super slow as well. So, yeah, I don't know what's up with that, but this time change is messing with me, man.
I'm a big fan of the time change. It just fits well with my personality. I like that it gets dark early. And so yeah, I've been living my best life.
Yeah, well, the thing is I just take forever to get used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been good.
I wish it was
School's
Thursday.
Gonna end soon. Dude, same, because if it was Thursday, do you know what Thursday means?
Oh my god.
That means it would be 1 to 5 days to the Mandalorian,
Dude,
or 4 days. And it would be it's 10 days today from Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
So both of those things.
Yeah. It's starting to feel like Christmas for me. I'm genuinely I just have this childlike excitement for the Mandalorian now.
I'm ready. I've been telling all my friends to be like, hey, yo, you want to watch it together? They're like, that'd be great because I'm not going to buy Disney Plus. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, that sounds good. We'll have a watch party. I'll watch the first episode 8 times. I don't care.
Same. It's really great that the second episode comes out 3 days after the first one drops.
Yeah.
Pretty excited about that. That we don't have to wait. Someone's tired over there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really, really tired. I don't know why. I have been up since 7 today. So,
yeah.
So it doesn't feel like it's been up since 7, but it's just how it is. But yeah, I'm excited. The thing is, though, is I feel like you're going to beat Jedi Fallen Order way sooner than I am.
Probably.
Because, so the thing right now is my predicament is I play a lot of Destiny 2. Shout out to anybody who plays Destiny 2. And there's a
Crickets.
ornament. There's it's a very popular game. But it's there's some ornaments that are in the game right now, and they look really cool. But also for the very last reward for this leveling up thing is so it's 2 people. It's a 2-person emote. And when they when they do it together, it's 2 swords that clash together, just like in Revenge of the Sith. It's literally a direct reference to Star Wars.
Okay.
And I'm like, I need that emote so badly. You have no idea. So there's 100 levels. It's kind of like how Fortnite or Apex does their battle pass thing. But the thing with it is I didn't have to pay money for that. It's just kind of a way for you to keep on playing and keep you invested. And man, they're doing that. They're definitely keeping me playing and invested because I want those ornaments and I want those emotes. But I really want to get that. And so I'm only ranked 39, and there's 100 ranks, and you have to be rank 100 to get that Revenge of the Sith emote thing. So I have a little bit to go.
Yeah.
So
the
good thing is at the end of
the
end of the season, which ends in about a month, about 31 days, they give this big XP boost to make it go by faster for people who didn't get to play as much. So I'm going to be taking my time with Fallen Order, and especially just with school still going on. But nevertheless, I'm still excited, and I can't wait to play it and talk about it with other stuff.
That's fine. I mean, you should just milk it and enjoy it as long as you can.
I heard you beat The Last of Us.
Dude, The Last of Us.
A lot quicker than I thought you would.
Same here, dude. I was actually shocked when it ended. So I was playing it Sunday morning, And then then I was like, all right, let me take a break, and then I'll play like later tonight. So like I saved my game, and then I got off, and then I went back to playing it, and it turns out I had already beat the game earlier, but there was just like one quick scene at the end that you can watch.
Wait,
and then
what?
And then the credits rolled, and I was like looking forward to it all day. I'm like, yes, I'll get to play The Last of Us later tonight. And then I started up my PS4 and like started the game, and then there's just like one quick like scene to watch, and then the credits rolled, and I was like, what? I was like, are you serious?
How long did it take you to beat?
It didn't take long at all.
Like, so like in your total play time of playing the story, like how long do you think you probably like what, like I heard it was like 25 hours.
I didn't spend that long at all on it. To be fair, I played on like whatever the normal difficulty is.
Yeah.
But it kind of flew by. For me, I think it'd probably be around like 15 hours maybe.
Okay. So, yeah.
And
I need to get on it. That's going to be the game after Jedi Fallen Order that I play.
There's
Maybe
like
we'll talk about it or something.
There's like a side thing that you can do with Ellie and her character that's like an add-on, but I haven't done that. But as far as the story goes, I did all that.
So I've seen the entire. So back when The Last of Us came out, I saw the entirety of that DLC, and it's a pretty cool DLC. It's kind of like about her backstory and stuff like that. It was pretty interesting. I remember I watched PewDiePie back in the day play it. Man, good memories. Good memories. But yeah, we have a lot to get into today. So
yeah. Speaking of The Mandalorian, we have like a special segment that we're going to do to open up the show with. Yeah, so we kind of came up with this idea yesterday, but we're going to do like a things you need to know before you watch The Mandalorian kind of thing. And they're not like things you absolutely need to know, but it will kind of help your transition into watching the show. For those who aren't major canon heads, Star Wars canon heads like you are, Grayson. So I thought it'd be fun because you probably, I mean, you definitely know more Star Wars than I do, even though I know a little bit myself, but
I want to argue with you on that, but it's probably true. Like just I know it a lot.
Yeah, I've kind of like since The Last Jedi, you've kind of kept up with a lot of canon, and I've kind of just not really avoided it, but I just haven't been as invested. But anyways, I thought it'd be fun to kind of go through a list of questions that I'm going to actually ask you, and then you can give us the answers too. This will help all the people out there who maybe watch the movies and a few shows but don't keep up with everything going on. Maybe you haven't watched the Clone Wars or anything like that. You'll be able to get some information out of whatever Grayson gives, and it will kind of help you when it comes to watching the show. Let's get into the questions. First question.
Before you ask the first question, obviously our usual stuff, which we failed to mention. We went on a whole side tangent about The Last of Us. If you haven't already, follow us on our social media. That's comicblast_ on both Instagram and Twitter. If you're listening on iTunes or anything like that, please help rate and write a review. It really helps us out and support us.
Yes.
And shout out to our patrons who support us. We thank them greatly. And if you're interested in becoming a patron, you can find us at Comic Blast on Patreon. It is just Comic Blast, correct? Comic Blast Podcast or Comic Blast?
Just Comic Blast.
Okay. And you can find us on Patreon there if you are interested in donating. But yeah, that was really quick. And yeah, let's get into the questions.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right. So first question that we have up. Who are the Mandalorians, Grayson?
So I'm not going to give you like a textbook definition of the Mandalorians, but essentially, the first popular Mandalorian was obviously Boba Fett, although there's a lot of debate in canon right now as to whether he actually is a true-blooded Mandalorian or not, but his armor is Mandalorian.
Yes.
So the Mandalorians are from a planet called Mandalore. They are they're humanoids. They're not like aliens or anything like that, and they are groups of warriors or clans of warriors that like essentially sometimes they're like bounty hunters, sometimes they're more honorable, sometimes they're more dishonorable. So there's a lot of history to the Mandalorians in Legends. Currently in canon, there's the planet of Mandalore, which is now a peaceful society. We see that in the Clone Wars with like how they're essentially pacifists, and their entire planet is essentially desolated, but they live in this dome, this really cool city. And so we see like there's the Duchess Satine, who their entire culture is pacifist now, but there still are the ones that are like the old school like true-blooded Mandalorians, which believe in honor through battle and glory and being warriors and all that. So we see kind of an uprising and all of that. They pop up on Rebels from time to time. So there's all these various clans. So the Fett clan is one, or at least it was in Legends. There's also, let's see, there's quite a lot of. There's also Death Watch, which Death Watch is tied to Darth Maul when he tries to take over Mandalore.
Yep.
But yeah, they have a very extensive history that goes all the way back. There was a Jedi who was a Mandalorian. His name was Tar Vizsla. Vizsla is another clan of Mandalorians. He was one of the only Jedi Mandalorians, and he wielded the Darksaber. So all that stuff's not really necessary to know, but all you need to know for like in terms of the Mandalorian is that. Really, all we know is that he's a Mandalorian.
Yep.
He's a guy who wears the armor, and he's a bounty hunter. And essentially, you need to know is that he's kind of a badass. Like, he's essentially Batman, or like he will kick the crap out of some guys. So, yeah.
Yeah. So next question is, when does The Mandalorian take place? So the show.
So it was a little confusing at first because when they announced it, Jon Favreau said it was 7 years after the Battle of Yavin, which people were like, wait, what? So what does that mean? Mm-hmm. So if you don't know, the original trilogy takes place within the span of 2 years. There's A New Hope, then a year later is Empire, and then I believe there's another year gap between 5 and 6. So The Mandalorian takes place 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi and the Battle of Endor, all that cool stuff. Yep. So the Empire has been... this is also after the Battle of Jakku, which was about a year after the Battle of Endor. So the Empire is kind of scrambling. They're not really a full force in unison. There's not really a specific order in the galaxy, especially in the Outer Rim and stuff like that. And there's a lot of transitioning of power. So it's a very interesting time that we have not seen explored within the Star Wars universe really in depth. And it makes me really excited because that is a period of time that I really want to see, seeing as it's 30 years between episodes 6 and 7 that we don't really know a whole lot about. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that myself. Like you said, it hasn't really been explored a ton. In terms of what's going on between episode 6 and 7.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably one of the most intriguing aspects of the show, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get into a few of the main characters that we're gonna see in The Mandalorian. Obviously, there's some A-list talent when it comes to this show. We got people like Bill Burr, obviously Pedro Pascal, Carl Weathers. A ton of good actors. Give us a quick breakdown as to what some of these characters are going to be. So what exactly are the actors, or what characters are the actors portraying, and what can we expect from them?
For sure, yeah. So obviously starting out with the Mandalorian, he's played by Pedro Pascal. And we don't really know a whole lot about him other than him being kind of like a Clint Eastwood style rogue bounty hunter guy. He has some, I feel like he's going to be kind of an anti-hero.
Yeah. So
think people like Deathstroke from DC or Red Hood or any other kind of anti-heroes that you could think of in comic books. So we don't really know much about his backstory, his personality. I do think we're going to get to see that. But I've already touched on him a bit. So the next, I think, biggest character in the show is going to be Gina Carano's character, and she plays Cara Dune, who is she's an ex-rebel, quote, shock trooper.
Yep.
And now she's a mercenary and kind of a bounty hunter, or will take odd jobs. And so I don't believe she's part of the Rebel Alliance anymore, because obviously there's no need for a Rebel Alliance. They've essentially the New Republic exists, but they're outside of the reach of the New Republic. So she's kind of, maybe I get the feeling, kind of lost her purpose now that this whole, this uprising is gone, and she's trying to figure out who she is, and very much like Ventress was when she when she was disbanded by Dooku in the Clone Wars. Yeah. She became a bounty hunter and was kind of like, all right, who am I, So that's Gina Carano's character, Cara Dune. Nick Nolte is going to play an Ugnaught character named Kuiil, I believe is how you say it. I'm not exactly sure. It's IIL, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you remember, Ugnaughts are like those pig guys from Empire Strikes Back that were like very brief. There's not really much known about him, but he's kind of like a supporting role. You can see him. He was in the Variety trailer that just came out yesterday, or November 4th, which was a pretty interesting trailer. So there's also Carl Weathers' character. He's playing a guy named Grief Karga. He's been in a lot of the promotional material, and he's kind of a leader of a bounty hunter guild, and he's the one who hires the Mandalorian. So I really like Carl Weathers, so we'll see see what he's up to. Next is Giancarlo Esposito.
So
if you guys watch Breaking Bad or really like anything, like he's in a lot of stuff, but he is playing Moff Gideon. And he is a former governor under the Empire whose life has changed after the rebels destroyed the second Death Star. So what I gather from this is, and I read that I'm reading this off of a description based off of him. What I gather is that now that the Empire is no longer organized, he is kind of trying to seize some power and retain the power that he has before that. But at the same time, I believe he's not going to be by-the-books Imperial anymore. I think he's definitely going to be someone who will be willing to kind of twist the rules and even though use his previous power, but almost kind of like a criminal warlord or something like that. So I'm really excited for his character. I freaking love him. So I cannot wait.
Same here.
And then the two last characters, or actually three that I think are the biggest ones. So Werner Herzog, you hear his voiceover in like all the trailers.
Yes.
He's kind of like a famous, I believe, German actor. He's just called the Client, apparently, according to his role. There's not really much known about him, but I think he's definitely like an Imperial guy. But I think he's also going to be kind of questionable and maybe not even loyal to the Imperials anymore. We'll see how that goes. I'm interested to see more about his character. Then, of course, we have Taika Waititi, who is voicing IG-11, not IG-88 he was in a lot of the trailers. It's not IG-88, but according to this description, it says he is an innocent and naive droid who does not know sarcasm or how to lie. So, which sounds
like a Taika
really
Waititi
freaking
character.
Cool. I'm like, that's a Taika Waititi character.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for him, and he's also directing an episode, but I'm sure we'll get into that in a bit. And then lastly, which we just saw the unveiling of her character yesterday in that Variety thing. No, sorry, not Variety. It's Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
I apologize. It's Ming-Na Wen, and if you probably know her from, I believe she was in Mulan. She actually won an award from Disney for being like one of these like essentially like a Disney superstar kind of thing, where she's like been in a lot of stuff. But she's also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a very popular character in there. And she is playing an assassin named Fennec Shand, or Shand. Don't know much about her, but she seems very intriguing, so we'll see more about her as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of mystery behind this show in terms of what exactly is the story, what are these characters, who's going to be the antagonist. So, there's a lot of mystery behind it. The trailers have done a good job of kind of getting you hyped without really giving up any of that detail. That's been pretty cool. All right, let's get into some just quick things about the production of the show. First off, how many episodes will there be, and when will they be released?
So there's going to be 8 episodes. So I actually thought it was 10 this entire time.
Same.
And I just had a lapse of memory, but there's going to be 8 episodes. So the first one is going to be the debut of Disney Plus, which is November 12th. So that's next week. 3 days later, there's going to be an episode on November 15th. Then a week later, November 22nd. Another week later, November 29th. Then I believe another week later, December 6th. A week after that, December 13th. Then 5 days later, December 18th. And then 9 days later, December 27th. So I think when we get into that December area, the reason they're kind of spacing it out is because of the Rise of Skywalker and kind of like trying not to interrupt that. And so instead of it coming out on the same day as like a Friday, they want people to go see it in theaters. So there's a little bit of some weird gaps in there where I'm thinking they're doing like instead of it there being like a week-long thing, like I think since it's coming out, the reason they did it that way is with those last December dates, which is the 13th, 18th, and 27th, is that you can tell that in between the 13th and the 18th is only 5 days, because it was probably going to come out on the 20th, but then they realized, oh, wait, that's the day the Rise of Skywalker comes out. We probably shouldn't do that because people are just going to stay home and watch The Mandalorian. So they really want to get those big box office numbers, so they're going to do it on the 18th, and then there's not going to be another episode until after Christmas. So they probably want people to go watch the Rise of Skywalker as much as they can. So yeah, there's going to be it's going to be an interesting release pattern, but yeah, it'll essentially all come out within a span of about a month and a half.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Also, I mean, you got the holidays going on and stuff like that. People are busy around that time. And like you said, the Rise of Skywalker is going to be their number one focus for that time period.
Oh,
so
yeah, for sure.
Makes complete sense. And then let's get quickly into the budget of the show. It's going to have one of the highest television budgets.
Yes.
I think it's about $15 million an episode.
Yeah, apparently the budget is anywhere from $100 million to $120 million. From what I'm seeing, is it's more so $120 million for the entire show.
Yeah.
So if you divide that up, that's about $15 million episode, give or take. I'm sure it wasn't equivalent for every episode, but you see the trailers, it adds up because the CGI, the special effects, the cinematography, the actors that they have, the cast and crew is just. Like, no wonder it needs such a big budget,
It's cinematic. It definitely doesn't feel like a TV show.
Yeah, it feels like a long movie, which I'm fine for, because it's like, I feel like we're just kind of in this age now where shows are very cinematic, like especially with like Game of Thrones and like all of these shows that are like Breaking Bad that are more for like higher budget TV. So yeah, it's going to be something of a spectacle and probably like a really big achievement in television. I suspect it's probably going to get nominated for some stuff.
Oh my gosh, I would imagine so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I'd say like looking at the CGI for everything, it does look like a big budget movie. It looks like a Star Wars movie. Like you can't tell the drop off at all when it comes to
like
to
if I
film
saw
and
that
TV.
trailer in a theater, I'd be like, yo, I'm so excited for that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and I was like, oh wait, no, that's a show.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then quickly we'll get into a couple of the people who will be kind of writing, producing, and directing a few episodes. We don't have to go through everybody, but just a few people that people may be familiar with already.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into the writers first because that's a pretty small list. So we know that Jon Favreau is the showrunner for this. So that means he did a lot of the writing. He did the writing on about 6 of the 8 episodes, and he also teamed up with Dave Filoni, Dave Filoni wrote one of the episodes, and then there's another writer named Christopher Yost, and he wrote the 6th episode. So obviously, though, with a Star Wars, there's like the parameters of keeping continuity and making sure they have an overall plot. So it's not like a one-off thing. Like they definitely all had to team up to make sure the flow of this is connected. So already I mentioned Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. They're going to be directing, or Dave Filoni is going to be directing some episodes. Jon Favreau doesn't actually direct any of the episodes, but that's obviously because he's the one that's kind of the glue keeping everything together.
He's the Kevin Feige of this show.
Right, exactly. So Dave Filoni, we've got also Rick Famuyiwa. I think it's Famuyiwa. I can't say it.
Got it pretty right the first time, I think.
Yeah, I think so. That was the closest thing. If you sped it up, I probably said it right. He's done a couple of interesting things. I think that probably the most notable is when he did the movie Dope, which came out in 2015.
Really good movie.
And that got I've never seen it, but I've heard good things about it. Then there's Deborah Chow, who I believe, if we remember correctly, she's doing the Kenobi series, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, Deborah Chow's episode that I think she's only doing one has me most intrigued just because we'll get a feel for what her vision is like within the Star Wars universe, because she's supposed to be directing the entire Kenobi series, which is 6 episodes, but I think that's probably out of everyone on this list that you're about to go through, I think she's the most intriguing, the most I'm excited about. In terms
so
of
she's actually directing
episode.
2 episodes.
2 episodes.
So.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So interested to see about that. Then a strange but very exciting choice, and I don't know about her directing chops, but I'm intrigued to see because I know from Black Mirror she is an excellent actress, and also the daughter of Ron Howard, who did Solo, and that would be Bryce Dallas Howard. Gwen Stacy from Spider-Man 3, everyone.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway,
it's like you said, Bryce Dallas Howard, her family, Ron Howard has already kind of played with the sandbox of Star Wars, and I'm sure he had some pretty cool pointers for her. Didn't?
Yeah.
I may be wrong about this, but didn't she also direct an episode of Black Mirror?
You know, I don't really know, to be honest. It's so the biggest episode that she did was an episode called Nosedive, and it was a very, very insane episode. I don't really know. I just know her more of an actress role and not a director role, that was the most surprising thing when they announced that. I was like, what? I was like, okay, I didn't know. So let's look at some of her directing stuff. So she has not done a lot. Probably the biggest thing that I see here is The Mandalorian.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Other than that, she did a couple of things like she did like this new documentary that comes out called Dads. I'm not really sure what it's about. But yeah, but I think they picked her for a reason, and I'm sure like her dad was like kind of give her some pointers or whatever, because I think they're pretty close. So. And then obviously the last one, which he's starring in the show, being a voice actor, is Taika Waititi. He's doing the 8th and final episode of the first season. So yeah, pretty stacked cast and crew. And that makes me really excited when I hear about the cast and the crew, about especially when they're familiar with this stuff. Yeah, that it makes me even more excited. So I'm hyped to see these people.
I think out of everything, Jon Favreau being involved and being the showrunner is probably it gives me a lot of security, or just like a sense of security when it comes to the show. Also, like Dave Filoni's involvement, and I think he's directing the first episode, maybe. As far as I know, he hasn't really done anything live action before, so this should be pretty interesting. If people aren't
Dave
familiar.
Filoni, I trust with all my heart when it comes to Star Wars. So I don't care if it's live action, animated, book, comic, whatever. Yeah, I'm all for it.
People may or may not be familiar with Dave Filoni, but he's essentially George Lucas Jr. He's done the Clone Wars and Rebels. So
a little bit of a backstory between Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. The reason they know each other, and probably the reason why they're working with each other, is because when Dave Filoni did the Clone Wars, many of you may not know, but Jon Favreau voiced he did a character. He voiced Pre Vizsla, who was the leader of Clan Vizsla, aka Death Watch, and they became friends from that. And so Dave Filoni he wrote a lot of the canon material for what happens with the Mandalorians, which we're going to see even more in Clone Wars Season 7 when it comes to they're a very political society, but it was and in terms of treachery and there's being overthrowings and all of this stuff, these terrorist attacks. It's really fascinating. So Dave Filoni really he cares about the Mandalorians, and so I think it's going to be really cool that they're kind of. I think even though it's Jon Favreau's overseeing it all, I think him and Dave Filoni are definitely kind of the minds of this.
Exactly.
So that makes me really excited.
100% agree. Well, that's it for The Mandalorian. We have about a week. Oh, we're recording on a Tuesday. So yeah, we have a week before that debuts. I'm sure we'll have a review of the first episode, maybe the day of or the day after.
Yes, I would love to do a review.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Like I said, it feels like Christmas for me. No, next week in general feels like Christmas to me. 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, Disney Plus comes out, and Jedi Fallen Order. So, yeah, really pumped for all that.
And last thing, just to clarify, The Mandalorian is not Boba Fett. All right, we're done.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's get into the news throughout the week. Thankfully, we decided to record on Tuesday because I think about 2 really big news topics dropped about an hour before we started recording. And it always happens that way. But real quickly, we're just going to really quickly talk about this because we recorded last week, and then right after we got done recording, there was an announcement for a Green Lantern series on HBO Max.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't add that on our notes, but real quickly, what are your thoughts on that? Excited?
I'm excited, but I don't know if I'm going to get HBO Max for it. It's just one of those things where I'm sure it'll be really high budget because of it, and also I'm excited because I've heard really great things about the Watchmen show.
Yeah.
But I hope this is maybe a cool way for like DC to get that avenue out there and maybe just kind of cancel their service and start putting stuff on HBO Max instead.
Well, they're putting Titans on there. And I also saw that they're putting the Doom Patrol Season 2 on HBO Max.
I just hope that these series have this Green Lantern series has a much higher budget than Titans and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because Titans is like a slight step up above and Doom Patrol CW, but at the same time, like, it's still kind of bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my biggest concern is budget can go an extremely long way, and like you can see that from like shows like Arrow and The Flash that have very low budgets. I don't know if you saw that CGI clip of Supergirl this past week.
Oh my god, I did see that.
Yep,
that was rough.
That's hard. Like you could literally do better effects on very simple stuff.
Yep.
It's rough. I don't know. So yeah, the Green Lantern series could be really freaking cool as long as they just, up the budget a bit and make it, I think, if it's more almost kind of Mandalorian style, with those limited episodes, I think it could be really cool. So
I mean, the starting price point for HBO Max, I think, is like $15.99.
Which that's steep.
It's very close to it's about double the price of Disney Plus. So I'd imagine they would want to put a higher budget towards the show. I'm sure we're like years away from this either way, but we'll talk about it as that time kind of comes. But anyways, let's get into some other DC news. DC news dropped today, like I said, about an hour before we started the show. So we have a casting rumor, and then I guess two casting rumors. Andy Serkis is in talks to play Alfred and the Batman, and then we also have Collin Ferrel is in talks to play Penguin and the Batman. Two superstar actors, great actors. What are your thoughts overall?
Yeah, they're big. I can't wait for the sequel where they get Johnny Depp to replace Collin Ferrell. If anybody is a Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts fan, they'll get that joke.
Yeah, even I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm so Collin Ferrell as the Penguin is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
I could see it because I played the Telltale Batman game, and the Penguin in that is almost identical to Collin Ferrell. Which is really cool. So I'm down with that. Like he was like childhood friends with Bruce Wayne. So they weren't like, he's not like this like fat like short dude.
Yeah.
He's like a very like classy, dignified guy, but he's also a bit of a dirty, like kind of behind the scenes kind of shady guy at the same time. So if this is true though, like I'm fine with it. I think it would be a less traditional Penguin, and it would definitely be different from Danny DeVito's Penguin, which is just creepy and weird.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I still love that Penguin. Like I think it's iconic, but at the same time, I'm like, this will be a lot different and a departure from that.
Yeah.
Andy Serkis as Alfred. I'm cool with that.
Yes, please.
I actually really like that. I think we're like kind of like weirdly Andy Serkis fanboys, like, and I don't really know why we are.
We defend him, and no matter
yeah.
what he is in, like whenever he's casting something and we talk about it on the podcast, or like him doing Venom 2, like we hated Venom, like we despise that movie, and then we hear that he's doing Venom 2, we're like, okay, that might be pretty good. So yeah, we're kind of like, I think we've been exposed as Andy Serkis fanboys at this point in time. But I mean, he obviously he has the right accent for it, and he may be right around. He's definitely going to be a younger Alfred, but not too young that it's like weird. It kind of it can still kind of fit. But obviously we're going with a younger Bruce Wayne, so it makes sense that Alfred would be just a bit younger. I'm not even sure how old he is. I'm sure he's like in his 50s.
Andy Serkis, I think he's around like 55. I'll do a quick Google search.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense though that they chose him because like if you remember, Matt Reeves did the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, or the Planet of the Apes trilogy. Literally, I was on the dot, dude. I guessed 55. He is 55.
He's 55. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So
25 years older than Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, which I think would be cool. I'm fine with a younger Bruce Wayne. I don't mind it at all.
This interpretation
Bruce
of Batman
Wayne and Alfred.
Matt Reeves is finding a way to do kind of change up Batman, I think. but also in a good way. Like, it's gonna be refreshing.
Like, he's like changing all of these things, and it's like it's so refreshing, but all in the best ways possible. Like, the casting with Catwoman of like, it's a woman of color, but like, I'm not really mad about it because I think Zoe Kravitz like nails.
She's got that.
Nail that, and like. And then there's obviously, you know, a younger Robert Pattinson, Bruce Wayne, but I'm like, I'm fine with that, though. Same thing with Commissioner Gordon. Freaking love Jeffrey Wright. That's a cool choice. I don't know. It's just like the more and more I hear about it, and we say it every week, because it's literally every week there's news about it. Paul Dano is the Riddler. Oh,
I already forgot about that. Holy cow, man.
Dude, the cast is insane. Like, it is an ensemble cast. Like, now all they got to announce is that they get Timothée Chalamet as Robin or something.
I mean, that would have to be a little bit further down the line.
A little bit later. Yeah.
Hopefully, I would hate for them to shove that into this first movie, but I could see it a little bit further down the line if they go the route of doing a trilogy.
Yeah.
And then maybe have like a Robin movie further down. But yeah, like you said, I mean, every week there's just a little bit more that gets me excited for this. I mean, they're going to start filming, I think, the beginning of next year. Robert Pattinson recently revealed that he's training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the role.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's perfect, kind of like Batman fighting style. So yeah, I mean, like every week, Matt Reeves is directing. We have an all-star cast. My favorite.
I've heard it's like familiar. Sorry to cut you off.
You're
like
good.
I heard the movie is like, which they had been saying this for a while, but like it's going to go straight like Sherlock Holmes. And I'm like,
detective.
Dude, if the movie is anything like the Robert Downey Jr. like Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes films, I'm like, you know what? I'm all for that. That sounds awesome. Like, I'm really into that.
I think it's gonna the action, of course, is gonna be there, but we're gonna get a lot of Bruce Wayne being Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Detective Bruce Wayne, essentially.
I want to see that intellectual Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I was saying, my favorite thing about the casting is that they're not going for look specifically. Because you can see with Collin Ferrel, I think he's a little bit shorter, but I mean, definitely doesn't have that like typical Penguin look. But they're kind of going for most talented and right fit for the personality and characteristics of that character. Like Zoe Kravitz, I mean, obviously she doesn't look like the Selena from the comics, but she definitely has that sort of like right persona to portray a character like that. And then of course who's it playing that's Commissioner Gordon? Jeffrey Wright. Yeah, I mean he has that same sort of
I can hear his voice just like talking to Batman.
You can see him
like
on a rooftop with the bat signal easily.
Yep. Glasses, a hat, like a coat or something, just like the mustache and everything. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this movie, but we're pretty excited about those casting rumors. Hopefully they actually go through. I think Andy Serkis is probably more likely to go through with Collin Ferrel. I'm not sure because we already had Jonah Hill drop out of talks when it came to this movie. So hopefully it goes through for him because he's a great actor. Other news throughout the week is that Ant-Man 3 is happening, or Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 is definitely happening.
Ant-Man and the Wasp 2.
Yeah, essentially.
Because that's technically, it's like weird. Just Ant-Man, then Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird. But either way, Ant-Man 3. I think we already talked about this a little bit at one point, but I wanted Ant-Man 3, so I'm happy with this news.
Yeah, it was kind of up in the air for a while. Like people weren't sure if it was actually going to happen. I know Michael Douglas was like kind of unsure if it was going to happen, and I think Paul Rudd at one point in time said he wasn't sure. But it's definitely happening now. So yeah, I mean it's good to finish off the trilogy. Happy they gave it back to Peyton Reed. I wasn't a huge fan of Ant-Man and the Wasp. I thought it was enjoyable and fun, but I definitely preferred the first one. Yeah.
I think I prefer the first one as well. I don't know. Like I can rewatch that movie and I'd be like, man, like this is a movie that gets better every time I watch it.
Exactly.
Like I really enjoy it. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like I enjoyed it the second time a lot more too because I think it was like kind of towards Endgame. I was like, I just kind of put on Ant-Man and the Wasp and I was like, I actually like this movie. But I think Ant-Man 1 is like really, really underrated and one of the, I'd say, mid-tier MCU films. But either way, I'm glad they're giving it back to Peyton Reed, because it's kind of like his. Like, kind of like his baby, like he kind of picked it. He like adopted it from Edgar Wright. Like Edgar Wright dropped it on the sidewalk, and Peyton Reed came up and was like, "Oh, I'll save you."
Yeah, for sure. And he did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would have loved to have seen what Edgar Wright would have done with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a very much a Ron Howard, Lord Miller kind of thing with Solo.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Where it was like they had these like incredible choices, and then they dropped out, and like somebody had to come pick it up. You can totally see in the first Ant-Man, like the times where you could see like the Edgar Wright types of things in that movie. How it was kind of a movie designed for him. But either way, yeah, Ant-Man 3. I'm obviously gonna go see it. We're both gonna go see it. So.
Oh, for sure.
I don't think there's ever going to be a day where I'm just not going to see a Marvel movie unless the MCU just gets ran into the ground. Like,
yeah, let's hope that never happens.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty disappointing.
Enjoyable while we're young.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so speaking of being young, there was also news that Spider-Verse 2 is definitely happening, which we knew, but there was actually an announcement over on Twitter. It's happening, or it's going to be released in 2022, so I'll be 30.
Oh my god.
I'll be 30 going to see a children's movie, and I'm going to enjoy every second of it.
Of course, you have to.
Yeah, because the first Spider-Verse movie, I mean, it's right up there with Spider-Man 2 in terms of my favorite Spider-Man movie. But
listen, don't feel bad that you're going to be 30. If it makes you feel any better, Tobey Maguire was over 30, or was like 30 when he did Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3, and Andrew Garfield was 30 when the first Amazing Spider-Man. So, if there's anything to look forward to.
Yeah.
Know. So, maybe also you should just go like dressed as a Spider-Man or something. We should do that, honestly.
I would do that.
Listen, by the way, if you guys did not see my Halloween costume, I'm very proud of it. I want to be a bit humble about it, but I thought it turned out pretty great.
Oh, it was
good. You can check it out on my Instagram, I think. We posted it on our stories yesterday, but I don't think it's there anymore unless we put it in one of the...
It is. It's in a highlight on there.
Okay, so then, yeah, check out the highlights on our stories, and you can see my cool Peter B. Parker Halloween costume. Also, I thought it was hilarious that one of your coworkers dressed up as you. That is absolutely genius, because it's like, I would have... That's great. Like, I love that so much.
Yeah, that was kind of unexpected.
How did, like, it was like 1-to-1. Like, how did she know?
So it's pretty funny. So I work with this girl, Kate, and just a side story, but we kind of just get on each other's nerves, I guess, for fun. She's kind of like a younger sister to me, but so she's kind of like me, and she doesn't really care to dress up so much. I've never really been into Halloween and dressing up. But yeah, so she was talking about it like a week before that, and I was like, just go as me. I was like, it's a very easy costume, but I was just kind of like jokingly saying it. And then so then I get like a message from her earlier that day in Halloween. She asked me if I was wearing like certain things or whatever, and then she just showed up at work and wore my entire ensemble. So it was pretty, and we were the only two people that worked that night, so it was just us two dressed exactly identical. I
love that.
So yeah, that's the backstory behind that. If you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen it.
I'm thinking next year I may try to work Halloween, and I have a coworker as well, and she does some really cool Halloween costumes. She's a bit younger than me, but we were like talking about Halloween costumes, and I was like, there's a guy he's one of my best friends, but he has a very distinct style when it comes to his boots, his cargo pants, the way he walks, like in his mannerisms and stuff, and his hat, and like his really bushy beard. And I told her, I was like, next year we should make sure to work on like Halloween and go, and hopefully he can be working too, and all of us we dress up as him. It would be so funny. I would love it, and I just try to walk like him and everything. But I'm also thinking as a serious costume, like I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Right now I'm kind of on the fence between, so I've always wanted to do Ben 10, because Ben 10's one of my favorite animated characters.
Yeah.
And so I thought about doing like an older Ben 10. Maybe next year I'll have a beard and it'll actually like won't have these stupid patchy spots. And if I do that, then I'll try to go as Ben 10,000. But if I don't, then I'll just shave and I'll just go as like a college age Ben 10. I'll get the leather jacket and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking about doing Arthur Morgan from Red Dead 2,
Oh, nice.
who's like my favorite video game character of all time. So a lot of different options. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I love Halloween, by the way. It's my favorite holiday. So
Nice.
I actually hate Keenan now. I'm kidding.
It didn't happen before that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just been deep down inside. Anyway, what's next?
No, so Spider-Verse 2 is happening. Quick teaser popped up on Twitter. You see a couple different logos, some new ones and some familiar ones that kind of flash through that little teaser.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've seen all the breakdowns of it, but there's like,
No.
it looks like literally every single Spider-Man that exists could possibly be in the movie. I'm not 100% sure if that's actually going to happen, but
They could get like a in-game like Portal style thing
Yeah.
where it's
Oh
just
my
like
gosh.
all these Spider-Men come out and it's just like it goes on for miles,
I wouldn't be
No
surprised.
pun intended.
I thought for sure that the next Spider-Verse movie was going to be a Gwen Stacy movie.
I thought it was too.
And it doesn't look like that's next up.
I thought it was going to be like a Gwen Stacy centered like all-female movie.
Yeah.
And then a Spider-Verse 2, like a full-on Spider-Verse 2. So I'm not really sure. I still kind of want that to happen, to
Me
be
too,
honest. I
yeah.
know some people don't like the all-female reboot things, but I think for the Spider-Verse, it makes sense because it's not like they're changing characters. It's like these are all-female characters that already exist, and especially because we love Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to see her with like Silk and Spider-Woman and like other Spider-Girls, possibly like Peter Parker's daughter from a different dimension.
Yeah.
All that stuff would be really cool to see. So maybe, I mean, I get the feeling it's probably going to happen at some point or another.
Definitely.
But we have Spider-Verse 2 in 2022.
Ugh. Such a long
so
way away.
long away.
Yeah.
But at least I can just watch the first one just over and over and over.
Yeah, that one really never gets old. I actually watched that with my little brother last week, I think it
Yeah.
was. And
It's a great movie.
it was his first time actually just sitting down and just watching it. And he just sat through the whole movie, and he's rewatched it a couple times since then. So
I love that.
Yeah, he really enjoys it, and I have no problem stopping what I'm doing and just watching it with him. Yeah. Other MCU news, or I guess the first bit of MCU news or second bit of MCU news that came out this week is that Ben Barnes was in talks to play an MCU hero. I'm not sure if he's still in talks to play that hero.
Yeah, he said he had talked with Marvel about playing a new character or something like that. Which, if you don't know, he played Jigsaw in
Punisher.
The Punisher. I don't even remember his... Oh, Billy Russo.
Yeah,
That's his name.
you still haven't
Yeah,
watched
yeah.
that, have you? Season 2.
I got about like... What is it, like 8 episodes? Or is it like 13 episodes?
Oh,
I
there's
don't
a
remember
lot.
either way, I got about like 3 episodes in, and then I started watching something else and got distracted.
It
But I
happens.
was only kind of in like the prologue where he's like in this town and like he ends up kind of getting involved with some like weird guy or like this whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I still remember everything. I just need to get picked up back on it, but we'll see when that happens because obviously Mandalorian, not to beat a dead horse, but
Priorities.
Yep.
So yeah, Ben Barnes, I actually really like him as an actor, and I liked him as Jigsaw in the Punisher series.
He's great.
What would you speculate his possible role could be if he were to be cast as a hero in the MCU?
At this point, I have no freaking idea because like they're going so expansive with the roles and like the minor roles in the MCU. I could see Namor maybe. That would be interesting. But I'm not exactly sure if that would work.
I've seen a lot of Moon Knight fan castings for him.
Yeah. See, the thing with him is like don't get me wrong, he's a very, very nice guy, but like he always plays like these kind of jerk characters and like a lot of stuff, and so that's what I think of him as because he was in Westworld season 1.
Yep.
He was a jerk in that, and then he was in then obviously Punisher, jerk. So he was also Prince Caspian in the Narnia movies. I don't really remember much about that though.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to look up Ben Barnes. I want to see all of his stuff because I feel like there's more stuff that I'm
Yeah.
missing, and I don't remember what it was. Dude, I don't know any of this stuff.
I remember
Yeah, he was-
doing one of our first episodes on the podcast, and I was really like adamant about him being Bruce Wayne in Batman.
Yeah, I remember that, and I
Back
was
in the
like,
day.
nah, he's too much of a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, he's like one of those people that, like, he kind of gets typecasted.
Yeah, that is
Um,
true.
Like, kind of like Ben Mendelsohn, who's, like, always plays, like, a bad guy, even though I freaking love Ben
Yeah.
Mendelsohn, like, and he's a super nice guy. But, yeah, he played him in Prince Caspian and Voyage of the Dawn Treader. So,
Interesting.
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with him playing a hero. I think it would be a smaller role, though, to be honest. I don't see him headlining any major roles in the MCU.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if he pops up in one of these Disney Plus series as something. But, I mean,
Oh,
it just
yeah.
it sounds like he was just in talks. And the fact that he's speaking about it, though, kind of makes me feel like that's not happening anymore.
Yeah, I don't think he would publicly speak about it if something like that was going to happen, you know?
So I think that there's a very small chance we actually see him in anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's just like another thing to add to the whole Netflix series and MCU not being connected. Although we
Yeah.
kind of already knew based on Mahershala Ali being cast as
Oh,
Blade.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially, there's, like, a lot of, like, continuity errors with that stuff. Although there was recently that John Bernthal said, like, he still would love to go back to being Punisher. And I'm like, get the man back. I don't care if it's a
Please.
reboot or not. Like, also, the whole Charlie Cox and Tom Hiddleston switching their characters
Oh my
for Halloween.
gosh, yeah, that was
I'm
awesome.
Like, that's literally, that is all I care about right now. Is I need Charlie Cox back as Daredevil, and
Yeah.
I need John Bernthal back as Punisher. In the MCU, they can be movies, they can be characters in other movies. Their shows don't have to be canon, because I can still appreciate those shows, okay?
Yeah.
Like, even though they're outside of the realm of canon, they still kind of are in this kind of weird, like, pocket dimension thing, or whatever you want to call it. Like,
Yeah.
this kind of alternate timeline. And so I can still admire those shows so much, but I adore those actors so much in those roles, like, and I think they're so perfect. And I love John Bernthal as an actor.
Yep.
I watched Fury a couple weeks back, and he was really good in that. He was a character. He was such a jerk. And then, like, towards the end of the movie, I was like, oh my god, I like this guy.
Oh,
like,
you fall in love with all of the
Yeah.
characters. in that
Right,
movie.
exactly. So I don't know. It just seems like such a waste of potential. Like, it would break my heart to not see John Bernthal come back, especially when you know he, like, his heart is for that character, and I
Yeah.
think he really cares about the Punisher. So, and I think Charlie Cox, like, totally embraced Daredevil, and kind of felt connected with him a bit. So,
Man, the whole
So,
cast
yeah.
just wants that show to be back.
yeah, I want it to be back, man.
Yeah.
It's been about a year ago since Daredevil season 3 came out, and I'm just like,
I absolutely love like the hashtag Save Daredevil kind of thing going on at Twitter right now.
Is that actually happening?
Yeah, it's like this whole campaign. And actually they the whole people that run that or whatever, that Twitter account had like a little panel at New York City Comic-Con, and some of the producers and Charlie Cox and stuff actually showed up there.
Oh man,
Yeah, so
that's really cool.
Yeah,
I need
that's
to check
just
that out.
really
Maybe
cool of
see
them.
if I can find some clips of it or something.
Yeah. But guys, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode of the Comic Blast podcast. Next week is going to be huge for us, obviously, because The Mandalorian's coming out and Jedi Fallen Order, so I'm sure we're going to talk all about that next week.
Yeah.
I think we'll have a review out. God, dude, I just cannot wait for that.
I know, man.
So I was actually talking about this with someone. When do you think there's going to be an official like app released for Disney Plus? You think it'll be the day of the release?
I mean, I've probably figured, it would be.
So the 12th.
Because I mean, I thought you were asking, like, they said that, like, there has to be an app, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's no way there's not going to be an app. Otherwise, that would suck. Imagine having to, like, go into your browser.
Ugh.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be the day of or the day before, just to kind of get everything tested and
gosh.
going. And then, because I really don't hope it, like, doesn't crash.
I was
Seeing
just
as how
about to
much
say
money-
that.
That's what I'm afraid of. Like, it's gonna open
Oh
and
my
people are just, like, it just, like, completely falls in on itself. So, but I feel like Disney's, like, pro enough to be like, yeah, we can get this covered and
Right.
like get the right assistance that we need. Have you actually signed up for your subscription yet?
I did.
Okay, so I'm curious, what version did you go with? Did you go for the 70 a year, or did you do the 7 a month?
I did the 7 a month. and they essentially they give you a free week, so you won't be charged until after your first week of having Disney Plus.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I could like cancel it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to cancel it.
You watch the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian and just cancel.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, that was it. That was my run, guys. Yeah, no, I'm thinking what I may do is I may do like the 7 a month for like a couple of months and then switch to the 70 a year.
Yeah.
Maybe like at the beginning of January. That way I can just kind of have like because it's cheaper. I mean, you're only paying for 2 less months, or, you know.
Yeah.
So I'll probably go set that up. I need to like talk with like my parents and stuff if they want me to pay for it, because I was like, I'll pay for it. It's $7 a month.
Yeah.
I don't really care. I'll do whatever I need to, but I want to try to help some people out, and like, but I don't know like what the rule, like I don't know what the rule is for like account sharing, because I feel like with Netflix you could have like a max of like 6 accounts or like 6 devices.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm like, if I gave it to me, my dad, and my sister, my mom won't care. I'm like, could I give it to 3 other people, or what's the limit? They said they're gonna crack down on like past account sharing.
I've seen that.
I'm like, I don't know what that entails. Are they gonna have a certain amount of logins on certain devices, or like a certain amount per week, or I don't really know.
I'm reading on Google. It says every Disney Plus account will be allowed to stream 4 devices at the same time.
Okay.
And you can create 7 user profiles. Each account can pick an avatar, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's not saying like how many. It did say something about household. So I'm not sure.
Maybe it'll like base it off of like, you could have like a certain household and then people not at the household or whatever. Because if that was the case, then I could be like, okay, like everybody's connected to one Wi-Fi source, and that considers that like a home.
Sure.
That's what it did the other night. I was trying to not log into to Hulu, and it was like it was doing something, and it was like, you need to connect to your home, and I was like, what? I was like, how does it know what my home is?
That's
and then
creepy.
And then I like reset my iPad, and I logged back in, and it was like, okay, now it works. And I was like, because for some reason it was like it was being whack. I had to update the app and like restart it. And then when I logged into the right Wi-Fi, it worked, and I was like, okay, I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't really know how they determine that, but maybe it's like how many. Maybe they just. I don't know if you set a home device, or if you're like a home router, or if you like it picks up on like the devices and like many are connected to one source. I don't really know.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense though, because for the people out there who like travel and want to watch like Hulu on a plane or something, or or you're out of state or something like that.
Yeah. I don't really know.
It's weird. I told my friend Todd that I work with that I would let him use my account.
Yeah.
So it's like one person that I know that's going to use my account, and that's really
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I want to share with other people too,
right.
since it's so, affordable.
Yeah, it's affordable, and it's also like some people really just they want it, but they don't want to have to buy it. And
Right.
I'm like, well, like I know, like I'm not gonna be using it like 24/7, but although when I'm bored, okay. So, guys, please tweet at me about this. Maybe I'll run a poll. Should I start? So in between my downtime on The Mandalorian, should I rewatch Rebels, or should I rewatch Spider-Man the Animated Series from the 90s cartoon?
Run a poll on that. That's good.
Let's run a poll on Instagram or Twitter or something like that, and we'll get some feedback on that.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. If you end up doing Rebels, I'll watch it as well.
Ooh.
Because I already kind of planned on doing that before Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. But you also need to finish Clone Wars.
I do. Yeah. Yeah, I just need to go straight to Clone Wars, to be honest.
I think if you do Clone Wars, I almost kind of want to do it too, even though I've seen that show like 3 or 4 times.
I've forgotten most things about Clone Wars, because I really started that before The Last Jedi.
I'm really curious if they're gonna put it on there in chronological order, or if they're gonna put it in release order.
That'd be helpful, but I doubt they do.
I think it's weird, because I feel like it needs to be watched in chronological order.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they did it. It was like with production issues and stuff, but it got all out of whack. And if you watch it in release order, you're like, what
confused.
The heck? This is so confusing.
That happened the first time I tried to watch it. But then I saw like an article about like the way to actually watch it and what order it needs to be.
Yeah, there's an article on StarWars.com that like it tells you the entire thing. I have it like bookmarked on my browser, so in case I ever need to go back. Usually though, I just kind of like, now that I've rewatched it so much, like the first 2 seasons, in my opinion, are like kind of not where the show like finds its strides. Like there's some really good episodes in the first 2 seasons, and I even enjoyed the movie. But the problem, like I really care about season 3, season 4, but oh my gosh, season 5 is probably the greatest season of that show. It is incredible. And man, season 7, February, let's go. I'm so hyped.
I'm just ready for Star Wars in general.
Yes. I feel like if I watch Rebels or Clone Wars, it'll just put me more in that mood, and that's probably exactly what I need. So
you do need that.
Yeah,
because I'm starting to kind of like build up that momentum for Star Wars lately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I kid you not, The Mandalorian just has me, like, I'm kind of restless until it actually comes out.
Get your sleep, Keenan. You need it.
No, I don't. I'm good. That's going to do it for the episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. As always, be sure to subscribe if you're listening from YouTube. Subscribe if you're listening from Apple. Follow us if you're listening from Spotify. Rate and review, all of that good stuff. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at comicblast_. And you can find our Patreon page by going to patreon.com/comicblast. That's how you kind of help out the show and keep us motivated to keep producing content. Also, I want to quickly shout out the YouTube channel, because Grayson has done quite a bit of videos. We've posted, I think, 3 straight days. We've had a new video on the channel, so go check those out.
Did we upload one today?
Yep, there will be one up sometime tonight. So.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Sweet.
Really excited about that. Anything else that I need to add before we log off?